We'll see what happens. I don't know if they signed up.
Good evening and welcome to the Manteno Village Board meeting for Monday, October 18th, 2021. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Boyce?
Here.
Martin?
Here.
Dole? Here. Crockett?
Here.
Geske?
Here.
Phillips?
Here.
We have a quorum. Tonight, as always, we begin with the approval of the minutes. Included in everyone's packet, we have the regular board meeting minutes from October 4th, 2021. Hopefully everyone has had the opportunity to review them. Are there any changes, additions, deletions, corrections? Seeing none, I would accept the motion to approve the minutes as presented by the clerk. Motion by Boyce.
Second.
Second by Phillips. Roll call.
Boyce?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Dole?
Yes.
Crockett?
Yes.
Geske?
Yes.
Motion carries. Public participation. Do we have anyone that signed up to address the board?
No one signed up this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Village President's Report. I just got a couple items that I want to keep reminding people. The camera rebate that the village is offering is still in effect until the end of this year. We continue to get some people that that have filtered in over the last couple of months. But if you could remember that after December 31st, that will be going away. The village will pay up to $100 for a home internet that is facing the front or the side if you live on a corner lot. There's a form to fill out that you can get at the village hall, and then it'll, once it's mounted, it'll be inspected by the code enforcement officer or by Chris, and it'll be approved, and then you'll receive your $100 rebate or whatever it is, up to $100. We've done so no one has to worry about that they can monitor what's going on. They can only use the film or the pictures that you provide, and the only time that they'd have any interest in it is if an incident took place on the street where you live. So it's something that will help if there's anything that happens on the street, and that anytime in 2020 or anytime in 2021 you qualify up till the end of this year. So please take advantage of that. I think we're up to 140, 50 of them so far. Like I say, the police have addresses of where all the different cameras are located. The only other item is just, building season's winding down last year. I know the Daily Journal called me the other day, was asking questions about, housing, and we really like to try to get to, more new homes constructed and try to get more things on track. Again, we're, at 23 so far this year. It would be nice to get that number up a little bit, because I think the new construction helps with the tax base. It helps by bringing in new citizens, and this year the housing market has been pretty good and pretty hot. The only problem is that building materials have been pretty fluctuating all over the place. So like I say, things are moving along, but they're not nowhere near where we were several years ago. But we'd always like to have new things and new things happen in the community. That's all I have. The village administrator's report, Mr. LaRock.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple items tonight. As we discussed at the committee meeting, the electrical aggregation is switching quite a few customers in Manteno back to the ComEd as their supplier. In part, this is because the costs of electricity are starting to skyrocket along with the natural gas prices. So again, they look at the smart meters and they monitor how much electricity you use. At some point, if it becomes unprofitable for Eligo Energy, they will switch you back to the ComEd rate. The rates are identical whether you're with Eligo or ComEd. So unfortunately, the letters are somewhat complicated. We had 3 or 4 calls today at Village Hall. Some people are worried that it may be a scam, but we want to assure them that we were aware of these letters. It's part of our aggregation program. It will not cost you anything one way or the other. Whether you're with Eligo or ComEd, you're paying the same rate for the electricity. So any people who are unsure or want verification that it's a real letter, they can definitely call Village Hall or stop in and we can help them with that. But it's going out to quite a few hundred few hundred customers here in Manteno, so.
And there's nothing that they have to do. It's all done automatically. They still get their same bill from ComEd, just like they would in the past. This is just a notification of where the electricity is being purchased from.
Correct, it's just the supplier is changing, that's it.
And it's, like I say, that, with the change in cost, our agreement with the aggregation company was that we'd, always be charging the ComEd rate or lower, and so that's why they're switching some of them back to the ComEd.
Correct.
Anything else?
Then have a Manteno Matters video.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, maybe we don't have the Manteno.
Technology is great when it works.
There we go. And no sound.
With us today is resident and school board member Gail Dodge to share a little bit more about how to play the game. So pickleball is similar to badminton. You play it on a court. We're very fortunate to have brand new courts at Lucille Feast Park. You have your option of playing singles or doubles. A lot of the same rules apply from badminton. In pickleball, you serve diagonally. You serve from the blue court, which is your serving court. You cannot let your serve land in the green area, which is called the kitchen. But after you serve the ball, it must land in the blue area of your opponents. When they have to let it bounce on the serve, it's returned to the server. The server must let it bounce once the first time that it's returned to her. And from then on, then you can let it bounce once, or you can serve it in the air, or hit it from in the air, which is called a volley. The score is 11 is a game, and you must win by 2 points. So if you're 10-10, then you have to win by 12 in order to finish up a game. You only score when you are serving. So if you fault as the server, then the server goes to your opponent. I started with a starter kit from Walmart. There are a number of places you can get. This is a very inexpensive set. I think you can go to all sorts of ranges as far as buying your own paddles. So it's pretty easy to be able to obtain. And we've made our way over to the square in a second because we have a couple guests here to talk about a brand new event called Fall Fair on the Square. We have Gina Lamore and Paulette Togo to give us some information. Give it away, ladies.
Hello, everybody. I'm Paulette, manager of Woodward Hardware. Just here to tell you guys about our free pumpkin giveaway. We're partnering with Lamore Realty and the Village of Manteno to give 100 families free pumpkins. You register through the Manteno Chamber starting October 11th. We did a great pumpkin display last year. It was super fun. So, and Dan's here to tell you about what we're going to do in conjunction with that.
So, like she said, the Great Pumpkin Display was such a hit last year. This year we're adding to it a little. So you'll have the opportunity to drop your pumpkin off here at the square on Saturday, October 23rd between 1 and 3. During that time, some of our local Manteno merchants will have activities, games, and some, pop-up shops available for families of people of all ages. Some of our local vendors here will have some special hours. The BJ's will be open earlier, Sammy's will be open earlier, Recharge will have specialty drinks. But other vendors will be coming in and setting up booths, and like I said, fun games for all, so we hope to be there.
Super fun, super exciting. Come on out, Manteno.
That sounds like such a fun event. Can't wait. And remember, Manteno matters because of you.
That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. Committee reports, Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no items, but I do have a Public Works meeting on the 26th at 7 a.m. here. Thank you.
Mr. Boyce, Properties and Recreation, Mr. Martin.
I have no items either, and our 20th is canceled. Correct. Right, because we're pretty much busy putting up Christmas decorations,
Okay.
so we're good.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. The Public Safety and Health, Mrs. Dole.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple items on the agenda. Ordinance 21-14, an ordinance authorizing the sale of personal property. This is with the delivery of the 4 new Police Explorers. We are ready to surplus the 4 vehicles they are replacing. Al, do you want to add anything to that? Okay, we got. Are we trading them in? We're not trading them in, right? Okay. Very good. Next one is ordinance 21-15, an ordinance to the Village of Manteno approving a side letter agreement between the Village of Manteno and the Manteno Police Supervisory Officers that shall modify Section 7-3 of the 2021-2025 Supervisory Officers Agreement. Chief, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, basically when we, there's some new case law out there, and this came from the Police Pension Board, that there was language in there that offered that they could take holiday pay either as compensatory time or they could take the holiday pay. Because of that option, it made the holiday pay non-pensionable. So we did a side letter back in 2018 that this board approved by motion that allowed them to go back to older language so that pay would be pensionable. They've now, like I said, got new case law that found that this should be done by ordinance rather than by motion or resolution. So this is just basically authorizing or approving that same language, just in the form of an ordinance instead of a motion. So, and that was always the village intent, was that pay would be pensionable. So this isn't anything new. It's just cleaning up the language and the tool that we approved it with to make sure that it stays pensionable for the police officers. And your next thing is going to be for the FOP. It's the same thing.
Right.
We have 2 separate contracts, one for supervisor officers who are not in the union, and then the union patrolmen. So that's why we have to do 2 different ordinances.
As he said, ordinance 21-16, an ordinance to the Village of Manteno approving a side letter agreement between the Village of Manteno and Illinois Fraternal Order of Police, Labor Council. That shall modify Section 9-3 of the 2021-2025 Collective Bargaining Agreement. And as Chris told us, everything, same information applies, correct?
Yes.
All right, and I guess that's all 3 of my ordinances. And my next public safety meeting is on November 10th at 7 a.m. in the Village Board Room. Wanted to give a little safety tip about the Manteno Police Department. Would like to wish everyone a safe and happy Halloween. Remember these important tips. Children should only go trick-or-treating with a responsible adult. Instruct children they should never go into a stranger's house or car unless their parents or other trusted adults are with them and say it's okay. For well-lit street corners. Tell them to not cut through back alleys and fields and stay in well-lit areas with lots of people around. Know the route your children will take while trick-or-treating if you are not going with them. Have them check in at set times, either by phone or by stopping back at your residence. Make sure your children have costumes that are fire retardant, contain reflective strips or material, and do not obstruct their vision or movement. Have at least 1 flashlight per group of trick-or-treaters. Drivers, don't use a cell phone or text while driving, and do not drive if you are impaired. Pay close attention while driving, especially at crosswalks, intersections, and the side of the road, and by parked cars. Drive below the posted speed limit in residential areas. Do not pass vehicles that have stopped in the road or dropping off children. Manteno trick-or-treat hours are 3 to 6 on Sunday the 31st. And have a happy Halloween. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Stoll. Planning and Zoning, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 1 item on the agenda this evening. It's ordinance 21-13, which is an ordinance granting a deviation from Title 8, Building Regulations, Chapter 1, Residential Garages, Article 8-1-19E2, maximum size of garages, for the property known as 1772 Condor Drive here in Manteno. The Planning Commission held a public hearing to consider this request on October 12th. There was no comment from the public, and the commission is recommending approval of the deviation from the building code. Ryan, did you have any comment on that?
I do not.
Okay. Our next Planning and Zoning Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October the 26th, 7 a.m. here in the Village Boardroom. And the next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for November 9th, 6 p.m., also here in the Village Boardroom. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Finance, Mr. Geske.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item I have is a motion to receive and place on file the village audit, annual audit prepared by Smith, Colling, Dykstra, and Olm for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2021. Earlier this evening, we had a meeting in which they went over this with us. There were no findings of issue to be concerned with. So this will be posted on our village website.
Yes.
For viewing by the public after this evening. I also have a motion to receive and place on file the annual TIF reports for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2021, and a motion to receive and place on file the annual treasurer's report for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021 and authorize its publication. Next item I have is a motion to approve payment in the amount of $4,100 to Manteno Public Library in reference to TIF facade agreement approved on September 7th, 2021. All work has been completed and inspected, and all paperwork has been received and is approved properly. Next item is Resolution 2115, a resolution approving a TIF facade renovation construction agreement in connection with TIF facade financing area number 1 for Burkott Superfoods at 451 North Locust Street. They came before us to give a facelift on October 13th at our Finance Committee meeting, and pretty excited to see some of the stuff that's going to happen there.
Yeah, it looked pretty nice.
Yeah, good, nice change. We also have payment of bills in the amount of $230,478.91, which includes TIF bills from TIF 1 of $94,110. We did not have any bills paid and authorized between board cycle, and our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for November 10th at 7 a.m. right here.
Thank you, Mr. Geske. General Government, Mr. Phillips, you have anything tonight?
Nothing on the agenda tonight, Mayor.
Okay. Under new business, we have Ordinance 2113, which is an ordinance granting a deviation from Title 8 Building Regulations, Chapter 1, Residential Garages, Article 8-1-19E2, maximum size of garages for the property known as 1772 Condor Drive, Manteno, Illinois. Item number 2 is Ordinance 2114, an ordinance authorizing the sale of personal property, surplus municipal equipment. Item number 3 is the motion to receive and place on file the village annual audit prepared by Smith, Kelling, Dykstra, and Ohm for the fiscal year ended April 30th, 2021. Item number 4 is a motion to receive and place on file the annual TIF reports for fiscal year ending April 30th, 2021. Item number 5 is a motion to receive and place on file the annual treasurer's report to approve the payment of $4,100 to the Manteno Public Library in reference to a TIF facade agreement approved September 7th, 2021. Item number 7 is Resolution 2115, a resolution approving a tax increment facade renovation construction agreement in connection with the tax increment financing Area 1 with Burkott Superfoods. 15, an ordinance of the Village of Manteno approving a side letter agreement between the Village of Manteno and the Manteno Police Supervisory officers that shall modify Section 7-3 of the 2021-2025 Supervisor Officers Agreement. That is Ordinance 21. Item number 8 is Ordinance 2116, not 2115, 2116. Item number 9 is Ordinance 2117, an ordinance of the Village of Manteno approving a side letter agreement between the Village of Manteno and the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council that shall modify Section 9.3 of the 2021 through 2025 Collective Bargaining Agreement. And then finally, the motion to approve the payment of the bills in the amount of $230,478.91, of which $94,110 are TIP 1. Are there any items on the consent agenda that need to be voted on individually? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to take a single roll call vote on the question of passage of the agenda items as read.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Crockett,
I'll second.
seconded by Geske. Roll call.
Crockett,
Yes.
Geske,
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Dole,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries. I accept the motion to approve by omnibus vote the ordinances, resolutions, motions, and orders contained in the consent agenda as read.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dole.
Second.
Seconded by Boyce. Roll call.
Dole,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
Geske,
Yes.
and Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Martin?
Nothing.
Mrs. Dole?
Well, want to make sure everybody has a safe Halloween. Make sure you abide by all the ideas that we talked about, and just have a safe time and have fun.
Yeah, I know there's been publicized in the Daily Journal, all the different communities with different hours. I think ours are the 3 to 6. We changed it, last year, I think, to the same thing we did last year when it was on a Saturday, this time being on a Sunday. Next year, I'm assuming it'll be, I haven't looked, but I'm assuming it'll be on Monday, so we'll probably go back to a couple hours, later in the day because of the, kids going to school and people working, but, for the time that it's on the weekend, we're going with the 3 to 6. I hear, some of the people are happy because their kids got more time to trick or treat. Other people that are passing candy out aren't so happy because they got more time that they've got to pass stuff out, but, it's 1 day out of the year, so, just everybody, be careful, be safe. Hopefully we'll have good weather. I know we get an awful lot of people out if the weather's nice. Mr. Crockett?
I'm good, Mayor.
Mr. Geske?
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. Phillips? Okay. I have nothing further except the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Geske.
I'll second.
Second by Crockett. Roll call.
Geske,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Dole,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming and for watching.